Friends, stop for a moment and ask yourself this. When was the last time you felt fully vital, alive in your body, clear in your mind? If that feeling is hard to remember, then this video is for you. Because the problem may not be what you think it is. Friends, vitality is all about full of energy. And here is the truth, no one tells us about energy. It is not made, it is restored. It is reserved. And the reason most people feel chronically drained out of energy is not because they are generating very little. It is because they are leaking too much. And the leak is invisible. And that is why rest alone cannot fix this. And the people who are leaking too much feel constantly tired. They feel hurried. They're constantly catching up. Always just about to feel better after this week, after this project, or after this season. And looks truly don't matter here. Someone can be very masculine, but still they are very low on energy. Being strong or manly in appearance doesn't mean the person is full of energy and vitality. They may be still feeling tired inside, deep within. They may not have the drive, that motivation to do the work. The father of yoga, Saint Patanjali, explained this thousands of years ago and has given us a solution to this problem. And the answer is nothing to do with how much we rest or how much we work out in a gym. Saint Patanjali gave us 8 limbs of yoga, the Ashtanga. And the first 2 limbs are yam and niyam, meaning the do's and don'ts. They are the ethical foundations of our life, the principles of how we live. But most people, they simply jump onto the next limb, which is yoga postures or breath work, without even considering or mastering these 2 first limbs. And friends, Patanjali placed these 2 limbs at the very top for a reason. And in this video, I want to highlight one of the yamas, don'ts, called as Brahmacharya. Now, as soon as I say Brahmacharya, many of you would think renunciation or celibacy, something for monks or yogis. And friends, that is a translation problem, not a wisdom problem. Let's understand this properly. The word Brahmacharya comes from the Sanskrit roots, Brahma, meaning the universal life force, and Charya, meaning to walk with. And Brahmacharya means walking with the universal life force, walking in alignment with the universal life force. Brahmacharya is not about what you give up. It is all about what you stop wasting. And when we understand it this way and start practicing it, everything changes. In yogic philosophy, everything runs on Prana, meaning life force. Every thought you think uses life force. Every emotion you carry uses life force. Every word you speak uses life force. And modern science finally confirms this. Research in cognitive psychology has shown that mental and emotional exertion depletes the same level of internal reserve as physical effort. Meaning, for example, if you're working in a factory for the whole day, physical job, and if you're sitting in a room for the whole day thinking about your past and present and future, then the amount of life force that you drain is pretty much the same. Our body doesn't separate mind exhaustion from body exhaustion. It is one whole system. And ancient yogis knew this. They called it Prana. Today we call it life force or vital reserve. And Brahmacharya is the practice of plugging the leaks of this vital reserve. Not through force or not through rigid willpower, but through awareness, by being Sajag. Friends, most of us are not tired because we have done so much today. We are tired because we have been leaking for months or maybe years. And we never took time to stop, notice, and understand where exactly it is going. And here is the question that matters. If you're exhausted, why can't rest just fix it? Because friends, rest replenishes at the physical level. We are leaking energy at a much more deeper level. Yoga describes this in 3 layers of drain. Number 1, watch, verbal leaks. Every word spoken carries prana or life force with it. Even if it is spoken without intention, complaining about people behind their back, or maybe explaining yourself to the people who are not actually listening, arguing on things that don't actually matter to us. In fact, within a few days, you will totally forget about this situation that you are arguing on right now. And friends, it is not about going silent. It is about noticing how much energy we are leaking from our mouth unnecessarily, without any need. Leak number 2, manas, mental leak. The mind that rehearses arguments that never happened. The mind that replays the conversations from last week. The mind that builds hundreds of versions of the future that will never arrive. Chitta vritti, mental fluctuations. Every unresolved thought loop is an open circuit. Energy flowing outwards, finding nowhere to land. Number 3, karma, the action leaks. It is not about the cosmic karma that you might be thinking of. This is the karma, action. The action that we take out of compulsion rather than the conscious choice. Saying yes when we actually mean no, we don't want to do it. The effort poured into something that doesn't align with our future or our thinking or our consciousness. It doesn't align with what we are wanting to become. Doing for the sake of doing. Motion without direction. And we lose tremendous amount of prana or life force in such actions. So friends, if you're constantly tired, you might recognize yourself in one of the 3 types of leaks, or maybe all 3. And the question now is, what do we actually do to fix this? I want to give you something practical today. Not a 30-day transformation challenge. Not a complete overhaul of your life. One practice, 5 minutes towards the end of your day. I call it the Sajag energy audit. audit. Sit quietly, not to meditate or to breathe deeply, but to reflect and ask yourself 3 questions. Question number 1, for verbal leaks. Did you speak something that you did not want to speak? Where you did not feel worth it? Where did your words cost you today? Was there a moment that you spoke more than you needed to? Where you explained, defended, or reacted maybe in a situation where you were not supposed to be? Where silence was a better option? And friends, when you're asking yourself this, don't judge, just understand, just notice. Question number 2, for mental leak. Where did my mind travel without my permission today? What thought loop ran on repeat? What did I rehearse in my mind constantly? Something that I had no power over, something that is not in my control. Just notice. Awareness is the very first step of conservation. And question number 3, for karma or action leaks. You ask yourself, did I do something today which did not align with my values, with my truth? I simply did it because I had to, out of obligation, out of fear, or out of an old habit. Just simply look for one thing, and that is enough. And friends, this is an audit, not a judgment exercise. It is your own leakage report. You will know exactly where you're leaking your life force. And you're not looking for where you're wrong or what went wrong. You're simply looking for a crack. Because once you see the crack, Brahmacharya or the practice of Brahmacharya can begin. Not as a discipline from outside, but as a choice from within. Patanjali says, when Brahmacharya is truly established, one gains Mahavirya, the great vitality. Not a good week, not a good holiday, but great vitality as a sustained way of life. So friends, as you might have noticed, energy is not something that just happens to us. It is something that we preserve consciously or we just give away without realizing. And Brahmacharya is not a monk's practice. It is a common man's practice. It is a conscious person's practice. It is a Sajag person's practice. And being conscious or being Sajag is exactly what we are here to become. Try the Sajag energy audit tonight. 3 questions, 5 minutes, and let me know how it goes. Until then, live happy, live conscious, live Sajag. Namaste.